Hello, everyone. We'll get started shortly. Thank you for joining the BB Mobile Apps live stream. We will get started shortly.
We will get started shortly. We will get started shortly.
Thank you, everyone, for joining. We still have a couple of minutes before the top of the hour. We will get started shortly. We will get started in 1 minute. All right. Thanks, everyone, for joining. It is currently 7 o'clock Eastern, and we're going to go ahead and start the live tutorial. And this tutorial will be posted after it's over. It's going to last about an hour, so you can go back and rewatch it. If you miss anything, you'll have the video that you can go back and refer to. I'm going to start off by introducing myself. I'm Gerald Oliveri, co founder, also technical lead for BB Mobile Apps. My business partner, co-founder Marshall, is in the chat. He's monitoring the chat. So if you have any questions as we go through this tutorial, feel free to put the questions in the chat. And if there's something that you would like for us to cover, you can also put that in the chat at any time. He's going to be queuing up those questions. The plan is for us to go through a few of the common questions and issues that we've seen recently. And then we're going to spend the second half of this tutorial answering your questions. So you don't have to wait until then to ask your question. You can put it in the chat at any time. Or if you have a question about something that we're currently doing, we can actually slow down or go back over it again. Just ask it in the chat. You do have to be a subscriber of the channel to put a question in the chat. Real simple. All you have to do is press the subscribe button, and then you can start to comment. That's all you have to do. And then you can ask your questions or make your comments. So let's go ahead and get started. The first thing that I'd like to do is point out the best resource that you have available to you at all times, and that is our frequently asked questions. As you can see right now on the screen, this is our home page. You can go to the support link and you'll see the frequently asked questions. These are questions that we've gotten repeatedly from customers. Anytime we get multiple questions from clients, we'll document that answer and we'll put it here in the FAQs. So your best resource is to go through and ask questions. We've been in business for over 10 years, so there have been a lot of repeat questions. A lot of the questions that you may have can be answered here in the FAQs. Once you come into the FAQs, they are sorted by category, but you can also search the FAQs. For instance, if you wanted to search about the album covers and why they appear the way they do, which is something we're going to cover in this tutorial, you can search for that and you'll see that it will bring up the questions related to that, and it will highlight where it's mentioned in those questions and answers. So again, I wanted to point that out to you. The second resource, obviously, you can contact us directly. You can either come to our contact us form and fill that out, or you can call us 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Our toll-free number here is listed on the page. I wanted to make sure I explained to you that when you call, you're going to get a tier 1 agent, and they have been trained to answer basic questions. So if you, let's say, want to change to a different PayPal account, or you want to just not use PayPal at all and use your credit card, that's a common question that doesn't require access to your account, and those agents can answer those questions. However, if there is a more detailed question that requires something looking into your account or some kind of analysis or research on an issue, they'll take the notes on that. They know what to ask, and they'll pass that along to us, and we will get back to you within 1 business day. You will probably get a call or an email from Anil or Marshall or Michael or me, and we'll follow up on that issue, guaranteed within 1 business day. So I wanted to make sure you had those resources, and I pointed those out to you. Now, the first thing that we're going to cover, as I mentioned, the album covers. If you're unaware of how it works and you have a radio station, you know that sometimes images will appear on your radio player, and it may not match the title of the song that's currently playing. So let me explain how that works. When we get the metadata from your radio stream, the only thing that we get is the song title that's embedded in the MP3. Those are the ID3 tags that are in the MP3 that come along with the music. The only thing that your app is receiving is that song title. It doesn't receive the album, doesn't receive the artist name, doesn't receive the image that goes along with that song. So what your app is doing, it is taking that song title and is sending it to Apple, and Apple is going to return the list of search results based on that title, and it will show the image for the first result that was returned. Sometimes that matches, sometimes that doesn't, but that really is the only solution we have as far as showing an actual image in the radio player. Now, if you don't want that at all, there are a couple of things that you can do. The first thing is you can turn that feature off completely. And that's what I'm going to show you how to do right now. So what you see on the screen is the BV mobile app. I'm currently logged into a testing account called BV Testing. So you may have your blogs listed there. The first thing that you want to do is log into your account, and then you can go to the More tab. Once you're on the More tab, click My Profile, and it's going to list all the information for your profile. It's read only at that point. What you want to do is you want to click edit. And at that point now you can edit anything on there. And if you scroll down about halfway through the page, you'll see there's an option that says show album cover. And it's currently turned on. All you have to do is flip that toggle to turn it off and then save. Now, whenever something's playing on your radio station, it will not try to retrieve the album covers from Apple. It'll just show your station logo all the time, and it'll show the metadata that comes through with the songs that are currently playing. The second thing that you can do is you can set your program schedule. Your program schedule allows you to put shows along with your radio station, and when that show is on the air, it will play it will actually show the show image for that particular show while it's on the air. For instance, if you have a show that's on from 6 to 10 every weeknight, that DJ show will show the image that goes along with the show while they're on the air from 6 to 10 p.m. every weekday night. And that will override any other setting. That will override the album covers that appear. That will also override the show image. The station image rather. So instead of the station image appearing, that show's image will appear. And what I'm going to do is real quickly show you how that works. If you're logged into your account, you'll see these options here. Radio stations is what you want to go to. And then you'll go to the program schedule. Once you're on the program schedule, that's where you can go through and you can add your shows. And you can set up the shows, select when it's on the air, and then you can upload a photo to go along with that show. Once you do that, then that will be available in the app where people can see the schedule. And when that show is on the air, that's what will appear on your radio player. So that's how you can control what the user will view when they're listening to your station. Now, you can also use that for other things. You can use that for sponsorship. So let's say you want to sell airtime to a certain sponsor. That's something that you work out directly with that company. You can say, hey, we're going to sell airtime from 6 to 10 to Joe's Tire Shop, and they're going to pay you directly. And then you can come in there and you can put their photo in the program schedule for however long you want to, and that will appear while that show is on the air. And that's another way that you can generate revenue for your station. And again, that's directly with you and that company. That doesn't go through us at all. That money will go directly to you however you collect it. The other thing that I want to show you since I'm here in the program schedule is the idea of using a shared program schedule. So right now, these are the stations that I have in my test app. I just showed you this one right here, Hits 107.3, and I could go in and I can add my own shows. But let's say that you're part of the Fleet DJs, and the Fleet DJs have a set of stations, and you want to put several of their stations in your app too. For instance, like I have here, Fleet DJ Radio. Well, when you add that station, you can add it as a shared station. And when that station is added, it will also add their program schedule. For instance, you can come in here, actually, let's see, Southern Listic. That's a good example. So Bernard B. with Southern Listic Radio is his station. He's with the Fleet DJs, and he's the programmer. So he's putting all the shows in there, but you want his station in your app. So you just want to use a shared schedule so that when he makes updates to the schedule, it automatically will update in your app as well. Now, you can remove that shared schedule and then manually do it, but again, you'd have to manually put in all of those shows. So that's the program schedule. That's how you can do those things with your program schedule and utilize someone else's programming. One last thing that I want to show you with this is a feature that comes with the Platinum and the Diamond plan, and that is allowing users to send recorded messages to your station. So if you have one of those plans, you see the red record icon that's on the radio player. Someone can click that. They can record a message that you'll get in your email as an MP3, and then from there you can download that MP3, play it on your station. Maybe it's just feedback. You can use that however you want to. If you're using a shared station, you don't want that to go to the other station. You may want that to go to you, or maybe vice versa. You want to control so it goes to somebody other than your email address on your account. So what you would do in that scenario is you would edit that station, and down at the bottom you can see recording email. You would put the email address where you want that station, where you want that audio to go once the user records it. Now, the important thing I want to note is you have to verify that email. We've gotten comments from people saying, "Hey, the email, I didn't receive the email, is going to a different address," but you have to go back and make sure you verify that email. You'll get an email to the email that you put in here after you click submit. You verify that email address, and then it will start going to the email address that you specify. An important thing to note is that you have 2 weeks to download that MP3 before it's then deleted from the server. So again, you'll get it via email. You'll get a link. You can download the MP3 from the link, and then you can have it locally and do whatever you want to do with it. All right, so moving on from there, let's talk about song request. So song request is something that is available for our Platinum and Diamond users. It allows people to send a text request as opposed to the audio. They can actually submit their request. It's just text. And you can also have them pay for that request. So that's another way that you can generate revenue. And I'll come back to that in a second. You can start utilizing that by going into our app and going to the second tab, which is requests. The way that works is you want to set up what is called a station or an event for each category that you want to accept a request for. The reason why it's done this way is because these can be used for events, for radio stations, for anything that you want to use it for. So you want to set up a separate project in here for what you intend it to be. So when the user makes the request, they'll select what they're making the request for. So for instance, I have my test radio station in here. I can come in and set that up by adding in this new event, telling when you want it to start, putting some confirmation in there so they'll see that text once they make the request. Now, as I mentioned, you can also charge for that request. Right now, the default is 0, but you can put in an actual amount that the user has to pay when they make the request. Now, in order to accept that, you have to set up your Stripe values. You have to set up an account with Stripe. Once you set up that account with Stripe, then they will give you API values, which I'll come back to in a second. And you would come in here and you would put those values in your account here. So I'm gonna go back to the beginning. You're on your More tab. You click My Profile, and at the very bottom, you will see Stripe values that you can put in here. It'll put your merchant name, a test, a private key, and a secret key. We need both of those. And you want to make sure that you copy the entire thing and just verify that it is the entire string. It's a very long string. You'll want to copy and paste and put that into the values here and then click Save. Once you do that, then you can come back over here, and that's when you'll want to set your price for what you want that minimal amount to be for each request. That's when you can start accepting the payments for each request that you have. And this will also be where you'll see the number of requests that you had along with your total earnings that you've made for the lifetime of this project. So now let's go back over and talk about getting those values. So what you need to do is you need to sign up for an account on Stripe. And I'm going to refer you back to the FAQs because we actually have FAQs that just deal with how to get your Stripe values. So when you come over into here, it will walk you through how you get the values for your Stripe. The question is, what do I need to do to accept payments for song requests? This will guide you through what you do step by step on how you get those values so you can accept payments for your Stripe for your song requests. So I'm not going to walk through that exactly step by step, but go to our FAQs. You can search up Stripe and it'll guide you through how to do that. You'll also want to put in your banking information so that you can have the money transferred to you, so on and so forth. But again, to accept requests, payments for requests, you'll want to get your Stripe values, and you'll do that by following these steps in the FAQs. All right, now let's move on from there. The next question that we've gotten recently, and this has been a question since we've started offering apps, is people want to generate revenue through banner ads. And in order to do that, what you want to use is AdMob. You want to set up your AdMob account and then put those values into your account with us. So I'm going to start that process and kind of go through that. But again, that is another step-by-step thing that you can follow along with in the FAQs. So if you search for AdMob, there are step-by-steps. How do you obtain your ad unit IDs from AdMob is the FAQ that you want to look for. But let's go through and I'll show you how that works. So in your BV account, you'll see your ad unit IDs right here. And the ad unit IDs should look like they look on the screen. There is a link right there that will take you directly to that FAQ that I just showed you on the screen. How do I obtain my ad unit IDs from Google AdMob? I'm going to briefly walk you through a few of these steps because it's maybe a little bit complicated, but walking you through it may make it a little bit more simple. So the first thing you need to do is go to AdMob, and it's going to have you log into your account. I'm going to skip through that part by just going through an account that I'm already logged into. So once you're in that account, you won't see any revenue in there, obviously. But what you'll want to do at that point is you'll want to go to your payments. And at that point, you're going to set up a payments account, and it will show you how you can, it'll allow you to add your bank account in there so you can set that up. After you do that, then you'll want to go in and you'll want to set up your apps. So right now I have a test app in there that generates revenue, but you'll want to create your own app by clicking Add App. Now here's the important thing. You want to wait until your app is actually in the stores. Now, for anybody who already has an app, that you already have this, but I'm really speaking to anyone who is getting started with the process, and we're in the process of creating the app, or maybe they're doing the setup process. You want to wait until that's done, because the first thing that's going to happen is they're going to ask you for where your app is in the store. So, for instance, once I set up a new app, I'll click iOS, and it's going to ask you, yes, this app is in the App Store. I'll click continue, and it's going to ask you to search for that app in the store. So let's say I want to set up the BV Mobile Apps app. So let's say I search for this. I don't see my app. I mean, BV Mobile Apps is in the App Store, but it doesn't come up here. That's fine. One way around that is search for your username that you have with BV Mobile Apps, because we always put your username in as a keyword for your app. So it makes it easier to find. So as you can see here, I'll do it that way, and now it comes up. And then at that point, I can click add, and I can add that as the app that I want to add the banners to. I'll continue there, and then I can go ahead and I can add that app. Now, I'm not going to actually add this app because it's added to an actual live account, and I don't want to add it here, but I wanted to make sure I step through that process because that part is important and it may be confusing. Once you do that, I'm going to just go back to these steps. You will see that you will be given a file called an apps. Actually, let me get it back. Back here. An app.ads.txt file. This is the other confusing part. So what they want to do is Google wants to verify that you have access to do this. And the way they do that is verifying your website. So what they do is they will give you some text that they want you to put on your website in the root directory. So what you would want to do at that point is you're going to create a text file. And I'll show you that right here. So you'll create a text file. So you see it's just an empty file. and you're going to copy this text that they will give you after you add your app to their system. Just paste it into this file and click save. Once you save that file, that's when you want to upload it to your website. And that will be at the root domain. So let's say your website is djjacksonville.com. You would put this file, djjacksonville.com/app-ads.txt. They have this here, but I'm pointing this out to you so you can see that that would be what the steps are. Now, if you don't have a website, this is where it gets a little tricky, because you need to have a website in order to go through this process and do a verification. And if you don't, then you're going to limit the ads that can appear in your app. You may not get ads at all, because if you don't go through the verification process, they're going to limit the ads that will be shown in your app. So that's the real important part to go through to do the verification, because that's the only way you're really going to generate revenue. So if you don't have a website, then this might not be the avenue for you. You might not even see the benefit of doing this. However, if you do have your own website and you can upload files to it, this would be the process that you would go through to do it. All right. So again, if you have any questions on this, I will refer you back to the FAQs. It will guide you through this whole process to create the banner. The last step in the process is to capture the app unit ID and then put it back into your account here in your BB Mobile Apps account, which is here on the mobile apps page. You would put the ad unit ID. Now you can use the same ad unit for each platform. Let's say you don't care about the difference between Android and iPhone. You can use the same ID for both. Or if you want to have more control, you can create ad units for each platform. It's up to you. But once you put those in there, then you would click update, and then you're all set. And it would generally take about 48 hours before you'll start seeing ads in your app once you go through this whole process. All right, let's move on to the next topic. And actually, first, before we do that, I know we have some questions in here. So let's go ahead and take a step back, and we're going to step back and go through the questions that we have in here. So DJ Malone has asked, is there a way to get email notifications for song requests when he has an app instead of checking them manually? So yes, when you get a song request, you'll actually get the song. You can check it in 3 different ways. You'll get an email of the song request. It'll go to the email address that you have on file. And when I say the email address that you have on file, it's the one that's in your account info. That's the one that we communicate with you when we send you emails. When the song requests go through, they also will go to this email. So you should get an email at this email address. So make sure that's the correct email address that you want to receive them. You will also get a push notification from the BB Mobile Apps app. So make sure you have notifications turned on for the BB Mobile Apps app, because you'll get a notification when that song request comes through. And again, keep in mind that those notifications are queued. So the notifications are sent out every 10 minutes at the top of the hour, then 10 minutes after, 20 minutes after, so on and so forth. And that's for every notification. So if somebody makes a request at, let's say, 8:05, you'll get it at 8:10. If they make that request at 8:09, you'll get it at 8:10. They come through at 10 minutes after. And the third way is you can manually check them, as DJ Malone asked. You can go back into the BB Mobile Apps app, and you can come in, you can click it, and it will show you the requests that were made. And you can mark those requests as played by hiding them this way. That's what this button is for. It will mark that this request has been played for your own sake, and then you can hide those so that you don't see every single request. So that's how you can check your song request. Good question. All right, next question. So First Lady asks, is it possible to allow talents to post their own blogs inside the app without giving them full access to the back end of the app? Yes, that's actually something that we've developed in the past couple of months. That was a request that was made by a client, and we have set that up. It is not something that is publicly available. However, if you contact us and let us know what the parent account is and the child accounts are, we can manually link those accounts so that when someone posts a blog in one of the child accounts, it will automatically be available in the parent account. Now, keep in mind that at that point, the notifications, all of the notifications are going to go to the parent account. So it's not like you can share them between both. So the blogs will still be in the child account. However, the notifications are now going to go to the parent account because that is looked at as that's where the blogs should be going as far as the notifications go. So again, if you would like to set that up, just shoot us an email at support@bvmobileapps.com. It's a manual process right now for us to do that. And we will get that set up for you. If this becomes something that a lot of people want, then we'll make that up so that can be dynamically done in your account. But for right now, it's a new process that we just did in December, and we were testing it out in January. So email us, and we'll get you set up with that. All right. SIHH Radio, does the program schedule override the name of the songs that appear? So yes, it does. So when you have a song that's currently on the air, it will put that name of the show on the radio player. So if it's 6 to 10 and DJ L Boogie is on the air and it's his show and that's the name of the show, DJ L Boogie Show, that will be what will appear on the radio player, and it will stay there, and it will override the name that appears there. Right now, there is only one space, so we put that as the priority as the show name, the name of the show. The only place where that's different is in CarPlay. So if CarPlay is set up, then it will show both. So let's say you're in the car and you have the app connected. There's more space, real estate, so we will show the actual app name. We'll show the station name, the show name, and we'll also show the song that's playing. So if you want to see all of them, you can see them in Apple CarPlay. Same thing in Android Auto as well. And that's how you can see all of those together. All right. If there are any more questions, please put them in the chat. Marshall, again, he is going through and he's moderating the chat. So if you have any questions, you can put that in there. He's queuing them up as we speak. And I'll make sure we come back to those questions. But let's continue on with other topics that we have loaded up to discuss. So let's go back to the radio stations. So again, right now, the radio stations are ordered in the order that you see here. So the order is based upon where you added them in the app. Now, when you added them online or in the app, rather. If you have the Android app, and I know the iPhone people, I know I'm one of them as well, will complain about this. If you have the Android app, you can actually reorder the stations. I know that some people have been ordering the stations on their own by putting, let's say, a number in there. They may do something like this. They'll put 1, save that, and then do it that way. So you can put that, you can do that in the Android app. The other way that you can do it is here online. For instance, if you come in here, you'll see at the very bottom, there's a sort order. So right now, this is 4th in the list. And if you go back to the stations, you can see it is 4th in the list. Well, let's say I want to move Nerve DJs down. I want to bring this down lower on the list. I can come in here and I can change this sort order to something greater. I can make it 99 because you can have up to 100 stations in your app. Up to 100 stations. I want to make sure everyone knows that up to 100 stations in your app. So let's say I make that 99. Now that's going to appear down at the bottom. You see it's down at the bottom, because now that is the lowest station in there. If you want to change the order for your stations, you can do it online by just changing the order. One thing that I recommend is, instead of putting them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you do something like 5, 10, 15, 20. And that way, as you get more stations, you can just insert the stations somewhere in between. So you don't have to go through and reorder each station. If, let's say, you want to put it number 2 on the list, and there you already have 10 stations in the list. If they're ordered 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, you can just insert it as, let's say, station number 3, and it's going to go between whatever 1 and 5 is. So that's a trick that you can use. In the Android app, you can just drag and drop, and then it'll just number them for you. But you can manually do that online. Now, let's say you have one single station in your app and you want to change to using multiple stations. This is something that we've covered in the past, and there's a lot that you can do with this, but specifically switching from single stations to multiple stations, you would utilize the tabs and content, which you can see over here on the right in the BD Mobile Apps app. Once you click that, it's going to show you the 5 tabs that you have available in your app. You can only have 5. That's a limitation by both systems, Android and iPhone. So you can only have 5. So at that point, you have to select what you want your 5 main tabs to be. So let's say right now I only have one single station in my app, but I want to add multiple stations in there. I would select that row in the list. And then at that point, I'm going to now select Radio Multiple Stations List. And then I would click Save. Now, if I have the Diamond plan, or if I've purchased the grid layout, I can also use the grid layout. And that's how you would change to using the grid layout. We've had people who have upgraded to the Diamond plan, and that comes with the grid layout. And they're like, how do I utilize that? Well, that is immediately available after you upgrade to the Diamond plan, and you would do it the same way. You would come into the BD Mobile Apps app. Again, go to, I'll start from the beginning. You'll come to the More tab. Then go to Tabs and Content right here. You would select which tab it is. There will only be 5 options in here. And then you would select the grid, Radio Multiple Stations Grid. And that's how you could switch from the grid layout for not only the radio stations, but also the videos. If you have access to the grid layout, there's also the grid layout here. There's also the grid layout for the audio. So let's say you have a podcast, or you have mixes, or any kind of pre-recorded audio in your app, you could switch to the grid layout here. And then you could also change the design. So the radio station's grid has 2 different designs. It has a regular grid, which is the full grid, and it also has the spaced grid, which has the bubbles. Just has a different look to it. You can come in here and you can select that layout as well. There are different layouts for, let's say, the grid layout for the audio. So you can change that as well. And that's also where you can select the type and the source for where you want that audio to come from. All right. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to put those in the chat. And again, Marshall is monitoring those. And if you can't think of a question right now, you can always email us after the fact. And if you want to replay this video, you can replay it and see the chat as we're going through and all the questions. Just click the button below if you're rewatching this video that says view the chat, and it'll pop up on the right side on YouTube if you're viewing this online. All right, so let's move on to other features that we have available in here. So one of the things that we've done lately is you can now use pre-recorded audio that will play before your station plays. That's called pre-roll audio. And you can actually see more information about that if you go to our site and you go to the pricing page. It's listed here, pre-roll audio. And when you click that, it'll take you directly to the information about that. So that can be utilized in a couple of different ways. Maybe you have a jingle or a sounder that you want to play before the station plays. And if you do, we would recommend that it's very short because it's going to play before the station plays every time or every other time. You can control that just by letting us know what frequency you want with that. So if it's just a jingle, we would recommend it as 5 seconds or less, something really short. However, the better use for that is advertisement. That is a way that you can set up advertisement in your app. So let's say you want to have this ad play before the station plays. Well, all you have to do at that point is you create the MP3 for whoever you're doing the ad for. That's something that you work out with them. That's revenue that you collect directly from them. And then you provide the MP3 to us. Right now, you would just email us that MP3 at support@bbmobileapps.com. In the future, we will set that up so that you can just upload that directly to our site or just put the link to the MP3 in the site in your account. And then at that point, then it starts playing. And again, that is another way that you can generate revenue for your app because you're selling that space to somebody else, and that's advertising revenue for you. The third way that you can generate revenue off of that is you can also set up in-app purchases, subscriptions, which is a separate charge. That is something that is separate, and I'll show you that. But again, there's no obligation to purchase that. But some people have wanted to do subscribers because that's another way that you can generate revenue for your app. And that is a premium feature that you can offer in-app purchases. That's a one-time purchase of $7.99. That'll allow you to set up subscriptions, not only to remove the ads, but also let's say you want to put an album in there and make people pay for it. And they have to be a subscriber to your app in order to hear that album. You can set up premium subscription. For instance, Chop Not Stop, they have a premium subscription, $4.99 a month. They paid the one-time fee, and now they have subscriptions every month that they're generating revenue off of, that they're removing the banner ads. And also we have DJ Danny D, DJ Danny D, he has a premium subscription set up in there where in order to listen to his mixes, you have to pay and subscribe. So I just wanted to pass that along just in case anyone is interested. All right, so let's go to other questions. First Lady asks, can you have more than one audio clip for the pre-roll? No, you can only have one audio clip for that pre-roll. The way that works is that ad is configured for one time in your account. It's just one MP3, and it will play before every station or every other pre-recorded audio. That means mixes, podcasts, songs, anything in there. And you can set that frequency yourself. You can say, I want it to play every time. Or you can set it to 2, 3, 4, whatever you want. So let's say you set it to 2, then when someone plays a station, that audio will play. But then the next time they play a station, it will not play. The second time after that, then it will play. So that would be a frequency of 2. Same thing with 3, 4, 5, so on and so forth. You can set that frequency. But again, just to go back to answer that question, no, you can only have one audio clip for the pre-roll. Now, that is something that we can possibly do as a customization. If that is something that you want, just email us. Let us know what you're thinking as far as that goes. I mean, because technically it's possible, but the way it's currently set up is only configured for one. All right. Barry from SIHH asks, is there a donation button or a way for fans to donate to DJs? So this is a tricky thing. So Apple and Google do not want you to accept payments outside of the platform. We know what that is. They want to control that because if you're making those donations, then they're going to get a cut. So it's real tricky how you do that. If the right answer, I'm going to tell you this, is no, you cannot have a donate button in there, because if you have a donate button, what's going to happen is it's going to open an external window and it's going to take the user outside of the app. And if Google and Apple find out about that, they may flag your app for violating their terms and conditions of processing payments inside the app. And then at that point, if they flag you, they may suspend your app, take it out of the store. More times than not, they will just give you a warning and they'll tell you to take it out, and then you'll just have to take it out. Now, we have had people put a donate button in their account after the fact. There is what's called a free feature link in text. So in your account on the mobile app page, I'll click that again, mobile app page, you can put feature text and a feature link in there. And what happens with that is that text will appear on your More tab. So let's say I'll just open up Party Savers app. I'm not sure if they have a More tab in here. They do not. So let's open a different app. WPQP Radio. They do not have a More tab. So let's try another app. All-Inclusive Radio. I believe they do. They do not. Okay, this is interesting. A lot of people aren't using the More tab. How about Genius Level Radio? All right. They're obviously using the Google Ad Mob for the takeover ad. So, yes, but let's do that a different way. So let's come into the BD testing app. And actually, there is no More tab in that either. FM Omnichannel. They do have a More tab. Okay, so in the More tab, what will happen is you will see that link that you put in there on the More tab, and it will, when people click it, it'll open outside the app. So if you put that in there, it will show and it'll open up. But again, I want to make sure I'm very clear that you're risking your app getting taken out of the store, because they will monitor those apps even if they're in the store and possibly remove your app if they see you accepting payments outside of the app. Now, if you are a nonprofit, you can put a donate button in there and accept donations inside of the app. For instance, we have created an app for WRG, which is a nonprofit radio station in Atlanta, and there is a donate button inside their app. They can accept donations utilizing Apple Pay, directly with credit cards, so on and so forth. That is a charge for us to do that, but again, that is the safe way to do it, and we know that there's no risk of your app getting taken out of the store. I do want to point out, if you do have a 501(c) nonprofit organization, and I mean you actually have to be registered as a nonprofit, not just you take donations, then you can actually get your developer accounts for free. So that's a way that you can save money. Normally you have to pay $99 to Apple per year to get, keep your developer account. But if you have a nonprofit organization, you can apply for a waiver, which we do have an FAQ on that. If you come in here and you select nonprofit, it will give you the information on how you can apply for a waiver. It has the link right there, so they will waive your fee. And it also asks, it tells you how you can accept donations. It explains all of that in there if you have a 501(c)(3) organization. All right, great questions. We have about 15 minutes left in the tutorial. Again, if you have any questions, put them in the chat. Marshall is moderating the chat, and then we'll queue that up, and we'll come back and we'll answer those questions. All right. Another question that we get frequently is payments. So there are various ways that you can make payments. You can do it through PayPal. You can do it directly using a credit card, debit card. Through Stripe, you can also utilize other methods that they allow, e-checks and things of that nature. If you're paying online, you'd be paying using PayPal. However, if you don't want to use PayPal, you can pay in the BV Mobile Apps app just by coming into your account, if you already have an account with us, and clicking Change My Plan. Once you click Change My Plan, it's going to load up the different the different plans that we have in there. And at that point, you will reselect the existing plan that you already have, and then you can go through the process and then you can make your payment that way. And then once you do that, it will cancel your existing plan, and you'll get a prorated refund for whatever was left on your plan. If you were paying monthly, whatever was left for that month, or if you were paying yearly, it will give you whatever was left on that year. And again, you can see all that information. There is a link to do that. If you are currently using a promo code, let's say you're with the Fleet DJs, make sure that when you go through that process, you re-enter the promo code because you want to make sure you maintain that pricing. Is not going to automatically pick up that promo code that's on your account, because that will be attached to whatever payment plan that you currently have with us through PayPal. Vice versa, same thing is in effect. If let's say you're using a credit card and you want to use PayPal, then you would just come to our site, go to the pricing page, you would select the plan. It's going to have you log into your account. You would log in, and it's going to bring you back to the checkout. You could put your promo code in there and then complete the payment there, and it will remove your credit card on file, and then you'll be paying through PayPal. Now, let's say you want to keep paying through PayPal, but you want to change the card that you're using. You want to keep using PayPal, just change your card or maybe your bank account. Then at that point, then you just want to go into your PayPal account and change your funding source. You don't have to change anything with us. Just go into your PayPal account and then go to where your pre-approved payment is with us, and then just change the funding source for the payment that you have set up with us. And that's all you have to do. You don't have to do anything with us on our side. All right, let's see. Next thing I want to explain. One thing you may have seen with one of the previous apps that I opened is there was a new splash image that appeared once we opened the app. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to show you that was, I believe, Genius Level Radio. So when you open the app, it shows this, and then it showed a different image after that, Genius Level Radio. Well, you can actually change this image to whatever you want it to be using the BV Mobile Apps app, and I'll show you how to do that right now. So in the BV Mobile Apps app, when you go over to the More tab, you'll see Change Splash and Headers. Change Splash and Headers is where you can come in, you can change your photos header, your videos header, you can also music header, change that, the radio tab photo, and here's where you can change the splash image. And it'll explain to you the next time you open the user opens your app, the splash image will be changed because it takes a second to load that up, and then it will change it. So what you have to do is come in here and you would make that change, and then the next time that it opens, after the change is put into place, your splash image will appear. You do not have to submit a change request for that. That will automatically happen. You do not have to. You do, however, have to submit a change request if you want that to be permanently changed. And I say permanently because, as you can see in here, what happens when I open up his app, it still shows the original image, and then it flips over to the new one that he has in there, this Genius Level Radio. However, because the initial one is hard-coded in there, if you want that one changed, that requires an app update, and you would have to submit a change request, which you can do in your app. In your account. You would go to the mobile app section, scroll down here, and it says change request form. You would click that, and then at that point, you would just submit the request, and you would say you would want to change your splash image. You don't have to upload that again. We can pull that from your account, or you can email it to us and supply a new one. But that's how you would permanently change it. All right. We have about 10 minutes left. We do have some more questions. Barry from SIHH Radio asks, can you have stations that have subscriptions and others that are free? Good question. So right now the subscriptions are set up for several things. So the subscriptions are set up for removing the banner ads, removing the pre-roll. If you have, let's say, any pre-recorded audio like mixes, music, anything like that, that will be all part of your subscription. The subscription is not currently set up for radio stations. So that's something we'll have to create for you from scratch. That would be something that you would want to designate once you make that payment. So let's say you come in here and you purchase the in-app purchases, you would want to designate that for us. It's no extra than what you're currently paying. I mean, you're already going to pay the $7.99, but I want to make sure I point out that yes, you can do it, but you want to make sure that you state that up front. So you'll get a confirmation from us. We'll reach out to you and say, what do you want people to get when they subscribe to your app? We'll ask for those requirements up front, and whatever you state is what we'll program. Now, if let's say you come back after the fact, a couple months later, and you say, hey, I want to add subscriptions for videos, and you didn't have that in there to begin with, we'll have to go through, and if we don't already do videos, that will be an extra charge. It wouldn't be the whole $7.99 because we will have already done a brunt of the work. However, if we don't already have that set up, then we would have to charge you for that. So it's really important that if you want that, you state that up front with the initial charge, and we do that because once we do that initial work, it's a one-time payment. It's one-time work that we do. At that point, you would have to talk to us, and then we would have to quote you a price. So, but again, to answer your question, yes, it can be set up that way. Just let us know that up front. Good question, Barry, because we haven't had anybody ask for subscriptions to the station, only subscriptions to remove the ads that play before or during or that appear during the station visually. So that's a good question. All right, let's see. Let's see if we have any other questions in there. No other questions. So let's see. Let's go through a few other FAQs that we've had recently. Let me pull up a couple other ones and kind of go through those really quickly. Let's see. All right. So one important thing, I want to make sure I point this out. So if you have an iPhone app and you want us to do an update for the app, you'll get a change request. You'll fill out the change request, and you'll get a confirmation email from us for that. That confirmation email says something very important at the top, and that is you want to log into your Apple developer account and review the outstanding agreements that are in your account. So a really important thing to do is if you submit a change request, make sure you log into your Apple developer account, and it'll see right there at the top. It'll say with a blue button, it'll say new program license agreement, and it'll say review agreement. You'll click that. It'll have the agreement. You'll scroll down to the bottom, click accept. And then the second thing is you'll go into your App Store Connect, and then you will go to the business section and agree, do those agreements. I believe we do have an FAQ for that in here now. Yes, we do. So you can go into our section, in our support section, how do I review the outstanding agreements in my Apple developer account? And it tells you both of those steps, and it gives you links to both, along with the steps for both of those. So really important because that will slow down the process. If we get a change request and then we go to update your app, but you haven't reviewed those agreements, now we have to come back to you and ask you to review the agreements, which again may take another day or two before you get that email, before you do it. if you do it right then when you submit the change request, we can do it all at once. All right, let's see. Let's see. Any other frequently asked questions? Fire TV. I want to make sure that I point this out because there has been confusion on the Amazon Fire TV. So the Amazon app comes with the Diamond plan. It used to come with the Platinum plan as well. So if you were a Platinum subscriber, it was grandfathered in there. You still have access to it. However, if you subscribed recently within the past year, it's part of the Diamond plan, and it comes free with that plan. And again, I want to make sure I point out that it is for Amazon tablets and Fire phones. Honestly, that is really so that you can say your app is on Amazon and you can have a listing on Amazon. For instance, let's say you go to Amazon, you could actually search for your app and see your listing there, right there on Amazon's website. You can actually see it on the Amazon website. I could come in here and I could search for any one of our clients' apps, and their app will appear here in the store, right here online. And so it's just another way that you can increase your exposure. But as you know, many people don't have Fire tablets and Fire phones. However, let's say you want to have a Fire TV app. That is the second most popular device for viewing, streaming on your TV. The number one is Roku, at least according to the stats that I saw in 2025. So, Fire TV will greatly increase your exposure. However, that doesn't come with any of the plans. If you wanted to have your app on Fire TV, then you would have to purchase that add-on. It's a one-time fee to do that on the upgrades page, $199. Once you purchase that, very important, you need to submit the images that go along with the Fire TV app. And that's what I wanted to show to you for anybody out there, because we've gotten questions on that. People have purchased it and then they didn't realize there was another step after that. If you come into your BV account, you'll see that there is Amazon Fire TV here. And once you purchase that, it will give you 5 different images that you need to supply, and it'll give you the actual image dimensions for each one of the apps, each one of the images that we need in order to submit your app to the Amazon App Store. If for some reason you don't want to do that, we can design them for you. There's information on how you can have us do that for you as well. But really, it's just a matter of just resizing the images that you currently use in your app and then uploading those to us. And then once you do that, then you're all set. There's nothing else you have to do. But I wanted to make sure I point that out, that there is an extra step. If you wanted the Amazon Fire TV, in order to get that in there, you have to come into here and submit those images. All right. We only have a couple of minutes left. I want to thank everybody for joining on for the live tutorial. This tutorial will be available again after this is over with, and it'll be up on our YouTube page. I want to remind everybody again to visit our FAQs page. The support has a lot of questions that have been asked. As you can see, there's several questions. You don't have to thumb through all of them. You can easily go through and you can search these questions. But if you have any questions, you can also email us. You can call us. We will get back to you in one business day. And we appreciate all of your business, your support. Make sure you follow us online at BV Mobile Apps on all the social media channels. And yes, again, thank you for being a BV Mobile Apps client. And we look forward to seeing you at the next event. Have a good evening.